All right, this is your rates and percents test review, going over all the steps and correct answers. Solve the problems below and be sure to show your thinking. Number 1, a total of 96 pints of ice cream were melted after a freezer's power went out. How many quarts of ice cream were melted? So I have 96 pints. And I want to know how many quarts that is. Okay, sorry. And I know that 2 pints equals 1 quart. So cross multiply and divide to get A. 48. 96 pints is 48 quarts. Number 2, Mrs. Lynch has noted that 7 out of every 10 pieces of mail she gets are junk mail. What percent of her mail is junk? Percent over 100. Cross multiply and divide, and we figure out 70% of her mail is junk. Number 3, a random survey of the quality of city parks is taken. 65% of the people surveyed were pleased with the condition of the parks. If 182 people were pleased, then how many were surveyed? So 65% out of 100% were happy. How many people were happy? 182, which means that's part of the people, because there's going to be unhappy people too. So we have to figure out our total. Cross multiply and divide 182 times 100. Take that, divide it by 65. We figure out 280 people were surveyed. Number 4, a tube of toothpaste is marked for $3.92 for 8 ounces. What is the price per ounce? Money goes on top, but if I only buy 1 ounce, how much money is that going to be? So cross multiply and divide. $3.92 divided by the 8 ounces. We get that we're going to spend 49 cents for every ounce. The answer was C. Number 5, which value does not represent the shaded portion of the strip diagram below? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 out of 6 pieces are shaded in. I'm going to start there. When you do 5 divided by 6 in your calculator to get your decimal, you get 0.83 repeating, which is 83.3 repeating percent. And I'm looking to figure out which of these 4 options are not equal to this information. Well, 5, 6, that's what it is. So it's wrong. 83.3 repeating percent, that's what it is. So it's wrong. Now, B and D. I've got 0.8, which is not the same thing as 0.83333333. So my answer is actually going to be B. If you did D and got 15 divided by 18 in your calculator, you would have seen that it gives us that 0.83 repeating decimal. So B is the one that does not match. 8. A large deer weighs approximately 78,900 grams. How much does the deer weigh in kilograms? If you have 1 kilogram, you have 1,000 grams. So if I have 78,900 grams, how many kilograms is that? Cross multiply and divide. 78,900 divided by 1,000, and you get 78.9 kilograms. Number 7, the model below shows how much pizza is remaining. It looks like 1 out of 3 sections of pizza are remaining. Which of the following numbers does not represent the amount of pizza that is remaining? So let me figure out all the things that 1/3 is. If you do 1 divided by 3 in your calculator, you get 0.3 repeating as a decimal. Percent is 33.3 repeating percent. So we want to find the one thing that does not equal any of these things. Well, 1/3, there it is. B is out. 0.3 repeating, D is out. If you did 4 divided by 12 in your calculator, you get 0.3 repeating, that's out. 30% is the part that does not match. 30% and 33.3333333% are not the same thing. So the answer is C. 8, the model represents the percentage of family households in the 2012 census. What percent of households were not considered families? The colored in part represents the households that were considered families. So all of the white boxes are the percent of people that were not counted as families. So we needed to count our white boxes to figure out our percentage. 10, 20, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 35% of people were not considered families in the 2012 census. The answer is D. 9, which product is a better deal? You had to set up 2 separate proportions for this. $7.20 for 60 ounces equals X for 1 ounce. And the second one, $8.25 for 75 ounces. We want to know how much money we pay for 1 ounce. So we have to figure out both of our X values and then compare to see which one's cheaper. So cross multiplying and dividing for the washing powder, $7.20 divided by 60 means for every ounce we're going to pay 12 cents. For the super clean, I have to do $8.25 divided by 75 ounces to figure out I'm paying 11 cents for every ounce. Well, what's cheaper? 11 cents for every ounce or 12 cents for every ounce? 11 ounces, or 11 cents, sorry. So this is your better deal. The super clean, the 75 ounces for $8.25, or the 11 cents per ounce. Number 10. Vision Source has a pair of glasses that are 20% more than the same pair of glasses at ABC Eye. If the glasses are $85 at ABC Eye, then how much more will you pay at Vision Source? Set up our proportion. I know they're going to charge me 20% more, so I'm going to put 20 over 100, and I know that 100% of the cost at ABC Eye was $85. So if I'm looking to see 20% more, I'm going to find 20% of that cost. It's going to give me the number of dollars that I'm going to have to pay extra. So if you cross multiply and divide 85 times 20 and divide that by 100, you're going to pay 17 extra dollars. The answer is B. 11. The East Side High School Marching Band is made up of wind instrument players and percussion. If there are 245 members who play wind instruments and 35 who play percussion, then what percent of the marching band is percussion? Well, you have to do 245 plus 35 to figure out the total members in the band, which is 280. So to figure out what percent is percussion, I have to do 35 members out of the 280 in total equals what percent over 100. So when you cross multiply and divide, you get 12.5% of the band is percussion. 12. Maggie's participating in her school reading challenge. She read 40 books in 6 months. If 26 of the books are fiction, then what percent of the books has she read that she has read are fiction? 26 out of the 40 books are fiction. So what percent is that? Cross multiply and divide. 26 times 100. Divide that by 40. And we get 65. 65% of the books that she has read are fiction books. 13, if 4% of the packages get lost in the mail, then how many packages will get lost if 3,000 packages are shipped? So how many out of 3,000 are going to get lost? That's 4% out of 100%. So cross multiply and divide 3,000 times 4. Divide that by 100. That means 120 packages are going to get lost. Number 14. A teacher's cabinet has 56 black dry erase markers and 14 red dry erase markers. Which proportion can be used to determine P, the percent of dry erase markers that are red? Well, we need to figure out how many total markers this teacher has. You have to add the red markers plus the black markers. 56 plus 14 gives us 70 markers. Okay, 70 markers in total. And I want to know what proportion can be used to determine the percent of red ones. So red markers is 14. Our total markers are 70. And we want to know what percent that is over 100. So there's my proportion, and I need to figure out which one matches. So if you check out all your options, you actually don't see one that looks exactly like mine, but there is one that is correct. I need to find the one that has 14 and X in the same row and 70 and 100 in the same row. And the answer is B. They wrote theirs upside down. They said we have 70 total markers, but 14 are red. And so 70 markers make up 100%, and we want to know what percent makes up the red. So they wrote it upside down. Don't love that, but the answer is B. Use the information in the graph to answer the questions below. Number 15, how many words can Julio type per minute? All right, so if I look at Julio's dotted line, in 1 minute he can type about that many words. But I don't like that because it's not exact. So I'm going to continue looking at his line until I find a point that hits at an intersection. So I figure out he can type 60 total words in 2 minutes. So if I want to know in 1 minute how many words he can type, cross multiply and divide, you figure out 30 words per minute. Number 16, how many more words per minute can Talon type than Julio? All right, well, we already answered that Julio can type 30 words in a minute. So let's figure out in 1 minute how much can Talon do. His works perfectly. Talon can type 40 words per minute, and Julio can type 30 words per minute. So to figure out how much more Talon can do than Julio, you need to subtract these two numbers. Talon can type 10 more words per minute. That's our final answer.